Is this really happening right now? Is this a fever dream?
Thoughts running through this Edmonton woman's mind, feeling powerless and depressed, were keeping her identity private because she made a complaint of sexual assault in a case that's still in the courts. When she got what she describes as text messages hitting on her from an Edmonton detective this past spring, the same police officer who was investigating her complaint of sexual assault.
It also kind of reactivates some of the trauma of the assault.
The woman tells City News the text described her appearance, saying, good looking and intelligent, you're a double threat, that she has great genes, and then I'll stop before I get into trouble.
I think that for him sending a text message and shooting his shot, it was just another day for him. But for me, it's going to have a long-lasting impact on my life.
The woman identified the officer as Edmonton Police Detective Troy Forrester. She filed a formal complaint with the Edmonton Police, which City News verified. EPS's Professional Standards Branch ultimately decided not to push the investigation further in this decision obtained by City News, recommending Forrester get counseling by his superiors. I called him looking for his comment.
Troy from Docs here.
Hi, is this Troy Forrester?
Speaking.
Hi, Troy. My name is Lauren Boothby. I'm a reporter with City News Edmonton. How are you doing today? Detective Forrester then hung up and didn't respond to follow-up texts and voicemail. We showed the text messages to this former police officer turned criminologist Dan Jones. He worked with Detective Forrester. He tells us these texts are inappropriate, especially because of the type of crime and the power dynamic.
This individual has already been victimized sexually. So you know that there's a vulnerability, there's a trauma that's been there. Making comments about their looks and their intelligence to someone who's just been traumatized. And the police need to be trauma-informed. Understanding their words and presence can have an impact on somebody.
EPS's Professional Standards decision that Forrester would get counseling is not the outcome the woman City News interviewed was hoping for. She decided to come forward after City News' recent story about a different case of police misconduct, hoping that her experience with the Edmonton police could push EPS to change how they handle complaints like hers in the future.
Protect vulnerable survivors and prevent re-victimization. And set a precedent with police officers that it's not okay to abuse their position of power and trust.
Change could happen. The province launching the new Police Review Commission to deal with serious allegations and complaints from the public about non-criminal misconduct by police across the province. Edmonton Police Chief Warren Dreichel says in this case, though he wasn't involved, it followed the proper process at the time.
Now, having said that, doesn't mean that the behavior is totally appropriate. Right? When we know that if we have a complainant, they're vulnerable, it's not appropriate for a police officer to interact in any kind of fashion like that, right? There needs to be that professional relationship. And I think in this case, I'm not saying and I'm not minimizing the activity, right? I think the Section 6 at that time was felt to be appropriate for that activity, for that text message or what was going on there.
Criminologist Dan Jones thinks the way EPS handled the complaint sends the wrong message, a mistake. He says because of the power dynamics at play and the type of crime the officer was investigating, adding he thinks the practice of erasing disciplinary records after 5 years should end.
We already know that the people don't call the police when in sexual violence because they're afraid to be judged. They're afraid to be being asked what they were wearing and what they were drinking and all of the different things that come along with rape myths. And this situation doesn't lend itself to confidence in the investigator if you're the victim of one of these crimes.
EPS also saying the counseling decision remains on the officer's file for an indefinite period, and investigators in the sexual assault section receive trauma-informed interview training. Detective Forrester is currently on active duty in an investigative role. From Edmonton, Lauren Boothby, City News.